Alright guys, welcome to my basic bread making tutorial. Firstly, ingredients. Flour, strong white bread flour, strong flour with over 12% protein, which means it's nice and gluteny, so you get the air bubbles, gas bubbles will form in it. Secondly, salt, 1 table salt. Yeast, I'm just going to use ordinary, from the supermarket, the Easy Bake yeast in the sachets, 7 gram sachets. And good old tap water, lukewarm, hand warm, not too hot so it'll kill the yeast. Very simply, there is no recipe. What we're going to do is use a ratio of 3 to 2. So 3 parts flour, 2 parts water. Ignore the weight of the yeast and the salt, that won't make any difference. So we're going to use 600 grams of flour. Therefore, we're going to use 400 grams of water. Don't bother about millilitres and all that shit. We're going to weigh it. It's a lot easier. So I've got a scale here that I can zero with my bowl on, and I'm going to pop in there 600 grams of my strong white bread flour. Now I've got a big sack of flour because I buy it from the Asian supermarket because it's cheaper and I'm a tight git. So there we go. 600 grams, you don't have to be to the exact gram, it's not cocaine, so 601, 602 there, don't make any difference. Okay, now the salt, 600 grams, I'd want how much? That's a good question. Basically, a fucking teaspoonful. So there you go, stick that in there. I'm going to zero my scale back down, because I'm going to put my water in as well. You'll notice, I've got no fat, no sugar, no lemon juice or other such nonsense. It's all bollocks that, you don't need any of that. So I'm going to put 400 grams thereabouts. Doesn't matter if I got 420, who cares? Yeah, so that's in. Now I'm going to have my yeast in there as well at the same time. So you see I've just bunged everything into my bowl. And all I do with that now is take it off there and mix it. Simple, all I've got here is a bowl, a wooden spoon and a teaspoon. No fancy equipment, no mixers, no fancy plastic things and spatulas and paddles and beaters and all that. Just mix that together. Until all the flour is wet. There you go. So all my flour's wet. And that is basically how you make bread. Almost. We're not finished. We're going to leave that now. We're going to cover it and leave that. Just cover it with a good old holiday tea towel. And we're going to leave that for around about 10 minutes for all the flour to soak the water in and become what they call hydrolyzed. So we'll leave that there. So it's been around 10 minutes. It's not life and death whether it's 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 20 minutes, doesn't really make a difference. It's the type of bread you can do while you're watching TV, you can go off and do something else and come back to it. It's not going to spoil, nothing bad's going to happen. So I've got my dough there now, it doesn't look a great deal different to what it did 10 minutes ago, but what I'm going to do now, and you'll notice there's no kneading and all that sort of kind of, all I'm doing now is just wetting my fingers in some water. And I'm just going to pick up my dough from one side and lift it and push it down. So I've just pushed the whole thing down into the bowl, keeping my fingers wet, only to stop it sticking. Lift it and down. So I'm basically stretching, turn the bowl round. So you do it all 4 ways, north, south, east and west. So I've just pulled it up, stretched it, folded it back and pressed it back down again. That's just giving it a little stretch. All we do then is cover it back up and leave it for another 10-15 minutes. And we're going to do that 4 times. Okay, another 20 minutes has passed, 10, 15, 20 minutes, something like that. And when we take the cover off now, it's starting to look a little bit like bread dough. So we're just going to do the same as we did before, wet our fingers, press it down in the bowl, like that, just flattening it. And we're going to lift it at the front. You feel it starts to get stretchier now, it's more, the gluten starting to form. And then just turn it and stretch it north, south, east, west as it were. Just pick it up and stretch it all the way around, and that's it. Give it a cover. Brodick on the Isle of Arran, last year's summer holiday. There you go. So I believe this is the third time I'm going to do the stretch and fold, so exactly as before. You see that now? That's starting to look like really good dough. There's no dryness in there, no flour. There's little lumps here and there, but you don't worry about that. Makes no difference. So I'll flatten that out, just in the bowl, and then I'm going to lift it exactly as before. 1, 2, just turn them as we go so we get a nice 3, and you see now there's little bubbles of gas starting to form now. That's the yeast doing its work. So let's make that into a nice little ball now. Back in its bowl, tea towel back on. We're going to do that one more time, and then we're going to leave it for around about an hour, 45 minutes to an hour, to double in size basically. There's no specific time, depends on how warm your kitchen is, how warm your water was, how good your yeast is, what brand it is. There's lots of variables. Just looking for it to double in size really. So it's been about an hour, just over. Just wash my hands. And we're going to now form this, as you'll see in a minute, up into a loaf. Now that you see has doubled in size. Nice dough. Still slightly warm to the touch. The yeast has been doing its work. You can, at this stage, stick it in the fridge. It doesn't matter. And we'll just leave it all day if you like. All you've got to do when you get it out is let it come up to room temperature. So I'm going to squeeze all the air out of this. Sounds daft, I know, but and then I'm going to fold it, all 4 corners in again, like I just had done, and all I'm doing is getting that extra little stretch. And I've got now essentially a loaf. I could stick that in the oven and bake it as it is, but I'm going to do it a bit longer. I'll find myself a baking tray. I'm going to pop that on the bench, put a bit of flour onto the candlestick. I'll put that on the tray. Simple as that. What you're looking for is just a nice tight skin around it. Yeah, like that. You don't have to go mad. You could of course cut that in half, but 2 smaller ones, make it into rolls. You want them about 100 grams each. Pizza bases, depending on the size, for a 12-inch pizza, 250, 300 grams will make a good size. But that we'll do that as 1 loaf, 1 large loaf. All I'm doing right now is a bit of flour on the top so my towel doesn't stick. Towel over it, and allow that to double in size. So, stick the oven on, 200 degrees we want the oven. Now that's going to take around about half an hour, 45 minutes now to double in size again. So this is the longest part, it's just waiting for it to do what it does. Warmer days, it'll be a bit quicker, colder days, a bit slower. If you do decide to slowly ferment in the fridge, it will give it more of a flavour. The yeast will work with the flour and you'll have more of a flavour. Doing it quickly like this, you get a very basic, simple bread. It's tasty enough, but it doesn't have the yeasty kind of flavour that you'll get on the longer flavours that you get from a slower ferment. They're perfectly good for pizza bases, for making sandwiches, for toast, for rolls, all that kind of thing. Yeah, so we're going to come back to that when that's doubled in size again, and I'll show you how to tell when it's ready to go in the oven. If you're going to make pizza bases with this, then you cut it into the sections you want. If you form them just into a rough ball by sort of folding it round, you need to then let those relax for around 10 minutes before you can roll them out, because the gluten sort of tightens up and it will go stiff and you won't really be able to roll it. So you're going to need to let that relax. Once it's relaxed, it'll be soft and pliable, and you can roll them out sort of 2/3 of the way. And then if you let them relax again, just getting that last little bit of stretch that you always find difficult into your tins or whatever will become a lot easier. As we've done it, we've just done it as a loaf, and that's going to be ready for the oven in around about 45 minutes time. Now, I am aware when I'm making this video that currently we're in a bit of a global pandemic and everyone's gone mad and bought everything they can find in the supermarkets. That's a shame because there's absolutely no need to do it. However, you may not be able to get hold of bread flour. As I've said, other flours will work, plain flour will work. You won't get the same rise, but it will work. And you might need the stretch and fold that we did. You might need to do that a couple of extra times. One thing that does work is chapati flour, or medium atta as it's called. It's a softer flour, and it has a bit of the whole grain. It's like a 50% whole wheat kind of thing. You will need to treat that as you would plain flour, but it will make perfectly good bread. So around about an hour has gone by, and this has now doubled in size. So it's ready for the oven. We're not going to do anything fancy. All we've got to do is slash it and stick it in the oven. So with a sharp kitchen knife, so put my fingers on it and give it 1, 2, 3 nice big cuts. What that'll allow it to do is to expand, to balloon. To know that it's ready to go in the oven, you just need to give it a little poke with your finger and it should stay in. If it springs straight back out again, it's not ready. So I'm just going to bung that straight in the oven. It's the middle of the oven. It's a fan oven, 200 degrees. We're going to set the timer 30 minutes. Timer's down to the last few seconds. We're going to get this bad boy out of the oven and have a look. There it goes. Turn it off. There we go. Nice and dark, I don't like them too pale. If you give it a little turn over and a tap, it should sound sort of fairly hollowish and feel a bit lighter. It'll lose a bit of weight in the oven with the steam or one thing with it. That needs to now sit for at least an hour to cool down before you try and cut it. So a nice crust, the crust will soften as it begins to cool down, as the steam comes up through it. But there you go, it's a decent loaf. You can slice that now and use that for sandwiches, toast, etc. Just a shame you can't smell that really. Superb.